season. He didn't look confident catching the ball in reaction drills, and when he did, it took a second before he turned and ran downfield. He has the tools to be a good defender in this league, but he may not be the impact player people thought he would be immediately. We'll see if he can ever develop into that for this team.
The Ravens are now on the clock. The Lions are now on the clock. Pick's been made. Let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about the player.
A college All-Star Game MVP trophy capped off an illustrious career for him. The performance was especially sweet, as many critics had criticized him for not performing well against top-tier defenses while in college. Breaking the 100-yard barrier and scoring twice against the top players in the country had critics changing their tune. He's now going to be expected to get the ball 20 to 30 times a game against some elite NFL defenses. It will be a steep learning curve for him, but sources tell me several GMs feel he's up to the challenge.
The Browns are now on the clock. The Browns pick is in. Let's go to Adam with more on Cooper.
He's been the subject of a fair amount of controversy after a mediocre season that culminated with one of the most impressive final games a defensive lineman has ever enjoyed. Critics claim he was the beneficiary of a tired offensive line, while his proponents cite an incredible swim and rip move that complement a powerful bull rush as the recipe to his success. If he struggles in the NFL and proves his critics right, it'll be interesting to see how much patience his new team has to watch him develop before moving in a different direction.
The Chiefs are now on the clock. The Buccaneers are now on the clock. The Buccaneers have made their selection. What can we tell you about him? That's why we have Adam Schefter.
His college career came to an abrupt end this year when he was suspended from the team. I spoke with the school's athletic director, and he told me it was due to an academic violation. He was on probation and close to failing several courses before the decision was made between the director and his coach. He was able to turn his grades around, but his draft stock took a hit when the news broke. Scouts weren't too bothered by his academic issues, but his lack of playing time made it harder to evaluate him with the rest of his class. And now that he's drafted, I don't think the team is too concerned with his grades either.
The Raiders are now on the clock. The Bills are now on the clock. Bills just made their pick. Adam, what can you tell us about him?
A tremendous physical talent, his draft stock plummeted after a well-documented battle with costly drops during a series of meaningful games this season. Sources have told me that when he's actually catching the ball, he's one of the most formidable wideouts in this year's draft. But he has to stop looking upfield in hopes of making big plays before catching the ball. Draft experts feel he has tremendous upside, helping GMs to overlook any issues he may have securing the football. Whether or not he can cut down on the drops and become the superstar wide receiver that this team believes he can be should be one of the more interesting storylines coming out of this year's draft.
The Broncos are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock. Let's go to Adam Schefter now, who's got more to say about the Browns' latest pick.
When the college season began, he was one of the surefire impact performers coming into this year's NFL draft. As the season progressed, so did the wear and tear in his body, causing him to miss several games with minor injuries. His struggle to stay healthy caused him to drop on several draft experts' mocks as we neared the draft, introducing a bit of a chip on his shoulder that was clearly evident in several of his pre-draft interviews, according to my sources. While the lack of durability caused worry among several of the GMs I spoke to, there were others who felt that with the right training staff and strength and conditioning program, he could avoid several of the nagging issues experienced in his college career. This pick is a bit of a gamble. If he can stay healthy, he's the kind of player who could develop into an all-pro. But if the injury bug continues to strike, he could be out of the league in a matter of years.
The Chargers are now on the clock. The Redskins are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Colts are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Patriots are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Vikings are now on the clock. The Steelers are now on the clock. The Jets are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Lions are now on the clock. The Titans are now on the clock. The Bengals are now on the clock. The Redskins are now on the clock. The Bengals are now on the clock. The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Buccaneers are now on the clock. The Packers are now on the clock. The Rams are now on the clock. The Raiders are now on the clock. The Bills are now on the clock. The Seahawks are now on the clock. The Cardinals are now on the clock. The Falcons are now on the clock. The Broncos are now on the clock. The Browns are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock. The Saints are now on the clock. The 49ers are now on the clock.